Great decorating is all about the details, including a gorgeous textured set of coasters. How we love a coaster. Functional. And why not be beautiful? Quince has a gorgeous set of woven rattan coasters in 3 terrific colors with their own little holder that you're going to absolutely love. And if you haven't visited quince.com/DTT yet, get on over there. It's everyday elevated living without the markup. From crisp 100% linen bedding and soft organic cotton towels to airy curtains and premium kitchen tools designed for everyday use. And the best part? Like Quince's clothing, their home goods are half the cost of similar brands. By partnering with top artisans, Quince cuts out the cost of the middleman and passes the savings on to us. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices and premium fabrics and finishes. Elevate your space with home essentials from Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. Looking cheap has nothing to do with budget, so there's no reason you should be making these decorating mistakes. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly Wilkness here with Anita Joyce, and this is Decorating Tips and Tricks. Today, we're talking about what makes your house look cheap. Everybody's going to want to know what we have to say about this, Anita.
Sometimes you just have to tell people things they don't want to hear. It's kind of like, someone walks into the room and they're...
The toilet paper on the bottom of the shoe.
Yes. Do you tell them or do you just let them walk around like that? Should we tell you if there's toilet paper on your shoe? Those of you that want us to tell you, listen, if you don't want to know, then this probably isn't the episode for you.
Well, let's flip it, okay? So if we're telling you what makes a home look cheap, we're saving you from doing that, right? So we're not going to be telling you how to fix anything today. We're going to be telling you about what to avoid, things you might not be noticing that can really kind of bring your look down and make it look cheap. There's a lot of bad decorating out there, but cheap is really probably the worst thing you can do for your look. And as I said in the intro, it doesn't have anything to do with budget. A lot of the things we're going to be talking about today are just removing things, which, we love doing that. We love adding, but I think we might even like removing more because it can do so much for a look to take something out that doesn't look good.
Okay, I have a little caveat there. This stuff that we're talking about is probably the cheapest way to go, but sometimes you can just do nothing rather than have this thing or whatever we're talking about in the room. Sometimes you can go with nothing or something. Sometimes you can go with something maybe that's a little more expensive. But I think the reason people have this stuff in their house is because it is the cheapest option. But unfortunately, this stuff does come across cheap as well.
Caveat. I think sometimes the stuff is not
Wait a minute. Is this a caveat on my caveat?
Yes, I raise your caveat to another caveat. I don't think that all the things we're talking about today are the cheapest of the cheap. I think it's just having a more discerning eye and now hearing us talking about this. And of course you can disagree, but why would you? We're giving you some great advice here. So don't be insulted. Don't be aghast if we mention something you've got going on in your house. Just have another look at it. Think about it through the lens of decorating tips and tricks and see if that is something that is really improving the look of your home. And if you can either remove it or you can replace it with a similarly priced item, then you might want to go ahead and do that.
Well, and some of these things were in a house maybe this time or the previous time when I bought the house. So yeah, I mean, it's going to take me a while to get rid of some of this stuff. Some things anyway, that we can talk about later. But yeah,
so you're walking the walk and talking the talk today. You've got some stuff.
Some of the stuff, right? Right, exactly. So I mean, but I can't do everything at the same time. So it may not be your fault. You may have bought a house that has this stuff in it, and it may not be in your budget to completely change it all at one time. So we get that.
Okay, so let's kick it off with the grommet curtains.
Oh, you went straight for the curtains.
I just despise grommet curtains.
Yeah,
and
they're not good.
They became very popular. I don't know. What do you think it was, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago? I just don't even know why, because they're not less expensive than a similar fabric that you can buy right off the shelf. You're certainly not going to get a custom grommet curtain. These are curtains.
I wouldn't. That would be a waste of money.
Please don't do that. These are curtains that are kind of in that mid-price. They're not necessarily cheap. They may or may not be lined. But they have those big, normally shiny silver circles, and they go on the rod, and they just bring the whole look down. There is nothing sophisticated about that. There is nothing elegant about those. And I'm here to say, and I've only tried them out in stores, so I don't know because I haven't had them in my own homes, but I don't think they're very easy to move along a rod anyway.
Right.
So if people are saying, oh, I got them because I can whip them back and forth. Well, let me tell you, you can whip rings, clip-on, or rings that are attached with drapery hooks or even sewn on a lot easier than you can be like with these big giant grommet circles. Now, I know I sound pretty passionate about not having the grommets, but I really think that they do nothing for your style.
I think they just we're trying to think of how many different ways can we hang a curtain. They can be rings. They can be the pleated curtains with the rings, or you can have a rod pocket or something like that. And so they said, hey, let's go with grommets. And I don't know any decorator that said that's a great idea. Because I kind of have a little reaction when I see them. I can't imagine them ever, like you said, really looking good. So I agree with that.
And sometimes you see them where the grommet circular metal is even a different color than the rod metal, or the rod is wood, and it's just it devolves into a worse situation. And their cousin, the tab top, is less offensive, but also not a great choice and can really cheapen the look.
It's just not. No. Well, I agree. Yeah, the tab top, not quite as offensive, but it's kind of up there, like you said. It's adjacent to.
Yeah, and you can't get them to sit on the rod unless you spend 15 minutes sorting them out. So there's a certain distance between each tab. It just never happens. And they're also not easy to slide back and forth on a rod. So ease is not a reason to have them. Style is not a reason to have them. And cost is not a reason to have them. So we should just banish them.
While we're on the curtains and we're at the window, let's pull that grommet top curtain aside, and what is behind it? And do you know what I see? I see mini blinds.
Grommets and mini blinds?
I see mini blinds back there, and I'm not happy about it. And to me, grommets may be your least favorite thing on a window. Mine are the mini blinds. And these definitely are the cheapest way to go. But if you can afford to just take it down and put nothing there, I think you'd be better off if you don't need the privacy, because I think these really can ruin the look. I mean, and if you're in a rental, that's what's going to be in there. I get it. There's nothing you can do about it. You're just going to have to deal with them. But if it's your house, I would work on taking those down and replacing them with just about anything you can is going to look better than that.
Okay, I'm just going to get it all out there. This doesn't happen that often, but you would be amazed at how many times we see the recliner, and on the occasion that piece of furniture has a cup holder.
Oh,
there is. I mean, I'm just surprised I have to say this sort of thing, And I know you might be in a home with someone who just feels the need to place a cup down really close to them while they're sitting in a chair. But that is so not good for your look, and really would pain me to think that anyone listening here had to live with that. You know, you're not going to open a movie theater. You're not at a stadium. This is your house. Get a little side table. I bet those chairs, I've never priced them, but I bet those chairs with the cup holders cost more than just a regular chair.
Well, some of those sectionals have the piece that comes down like you're in a car, and the back cushion becomes a cup holder too. Or it's in the arm.
Stop it. That is a nightmare you had. That's not true.
If you're in your car, look, I'm all for the cup holders. Love the cup holders in the car.
If you're in motion. Yeah.
But if you're at home, you don't need a cup holder. Just have a coffee table nearby or a side table, or maybe one of these tiny little cocktail tables that are just big enough to put a drink on it. Pull those out. But the cup holders in the furniture, I just can't go there. I just can't.
No, and no one should go there. Okay, so that's rare. That's a rare thing. Grommets are much more prevalent, but just in case, we got it out there. Okay, what's your next one?
The dated lighting, and the worst one are those big fluorescent things people have in their kitchens, in their laundry rooms, in their closet. And I don't care if it's your closet. I mean, just take it down. I mean, that is just, and especially the kind that hum. Some of these things hum.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, one time we bought a house and there was a fluorescent thing in the closet, and it was awful. I mean, it had a hum to it. And I just couldn't wait to get the light turned off.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I didn't even think about that one. I recently, was it last summer maybe, I worked with a client, and she had one of those recessed, with that kind of like wavy plastic panel on it. And it was a good portion of her kitchen ceiling.
Oh, wow.
And she kept thinking, this would be such a project to take it down. Now, I know I told you we weren't going to tell you how to fix anything today, but I can't help it because I didn't know you were going to say that. It's so easy to change it. And you could have like a mini coffered ceiling. You don't even have to do any additional sheetrocking or anything. You can just leave the coffer part, which is, kind of the part that goes up and creates this either rectangle or square. Take the plastic panel down, take the fluorescent bulb bar and that whole apparatus down. You're just going to be left with an electrical box. Have it smoothed out. If it needs a little mudding, a little plaster, a little spackle, paint it and get a beautiful chandelier that can hang down. Mm-hmm. Done. There's no reason you need to live with that.
Oh, that's right. And we've even just turned them into can lights before as well. There's a lot that you can do, and that's not going to be that expensive. I mean, if you can avoid putting it up, obviously. I don't think any of our listeners actually installed one of these in their house, but I can see you buying a house that has it in there.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be that expensive to replace it. It's basically just the electrician's time.
Yeah, and definitely makes the house, the apartment, condo, whatever it is, really look cheap, because that is a cheap decision that some builder made in the 80s, late 70s, maybe early 90s. I really don't think most builders are doing that anymore, but those are one of those builder decisions. Another builder decisions is that really inexpensive beige tile that are like the 10 by 10s, 12 by 12s that they use throughout homes, apartments, or they'll use it in the kitchen and maybe into a bathroom in a home. And you've all seen it. It's that color, and the grout is probably darker now because of years of use. That is really going to cheapen your look. Now, this is not going to be something that's going to be easy to replace or inexpensive to replace, but that might be something you'd want to put a little money towards, because that builder grade tile is really going to bring down your look. Now, what can you do in the interim? put some carpets over it, right? Change it up a little bit with maybe a nice runner or carpet in your kitchen if you can, or think about covering it up if you can't replace it. But that is definitely an item that builders notoriously choose because, I don't know, was there a giant factory making them and they had like an abundance? Like, we overstock and, here's the cheapest tile you can get. Here, put it in your spec house, put it in your condo complex. It's just a bad choice. Hey, we'll be right back with the rest of the show, but keep listening so we can continue bringing you DTT. I can't stop using dupe.com. This is an amazing website, service, best friend. I absolutely love it. So you find something that you really want and it's too expensive. It's a budget buster. Then you use dupe.com and you can find almost the exact thing or very similar products for much less. So I was crushing on this incredibly gorgeous coffee table. I had it in my mind. I had it in my Pinterest boards. I had it everywhere, but I just didn't have it in my house because it was too expensive. When I learned about dupe.com, that was the first product that I tested. And boy, did I find some amazing dupes. And I purchased one. So the original was almost $3,000. And Dupe showed me many choices, all the way down to under $200. Now, you may think something this extraordinary is hard to use, but it's so easy. Just type dupe.com / before any product URL in your browser, and boom, it instantly finds you less expensive alternatives. They even have an app and a browser extension you can download. No account required, no sign up required. It's completely free. That's completely free, free to use. Stop wasting your money on brand names and start saving with dupe.com today.
What about this? And I see it all the time. I know you see it too, Kelly. The exposed wires for your TV when it's above the fireplace.
Yeah.
No reason for that. And really, we hired someone to come just run something through the fireplace down around to the side where the wires go through the wall. It was not expensive. They just put basically a little hole down where the outlet is, where you plug in things, and then just snake the wires up through the wall and then up where the TV is. And there's kind of a little place where the wires come through. Not expensive. And, they're not showing now.
Excellent solution to that. And while we're talking about the TV, some rooms are really difficult to deal with because there might be windows, there might be a fireplace that you don't want to put the TV over. And sometimes the TV just ends up sort of in a corner, like catty corner, kitty corner, however you like to say that, on some sort of piece of furniture that's a TV stand or a pseudo TV stand, and it's just sitting there. That doesn't look great. If you're in a situation like that, it's gonna kind of make the house look a little cheap because there are better ways to handle the TV, and sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and put it over the fireplace. Or maybe it's a case where you're concerned about hanging it on a wall. I would say get the bracket, hang it on a wall. Don't put it on a piece of furniture just kind of shoved in the corner.
Yeah, I think it depends. If it's some of them, don't bother me. Depending, I mean, I think it does look better hanging on the wall if you can do that. Depending if the piece underneath it is the right size, if it's not kind of angled. I've seen those pieces of furniture put in awkward places where it just doesn't work. And I think in that case, I think you're just better off hanging the TV on the wall and skipping that piece of furniture underneath it that's been kind of shoved in a corner where it doesn't work. So
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So just kind of look, does that piece of furniture under the TV make sense where it is? Or does it look like it's kind of crammed in there? Hey, what about the popcorn ceilings? And I don't know who decided that this was a good idea. Why did they even begin doing it? Who said, you know what would make this room look great? Let's get popcorn and just throw it on the ceiling. No, wait, that's too hard. Let's create this plastery goo that looks like popcorn and throw that on the ceiling. Yeah, that looks great.
Absolutely. No popcorn with your cup holder and no popcorn on your ceiling. Again, it was one of these builder decisions. And to your point, one listening is like, when are we going to put the popcorn ceiling in?
I know.
So it's something you inherit. It's something you buy. It's there. How do you deal with it? You could skim coat it. You have a painter do it. You could do it yourself. But it's probably easier just to go over it with a thinner piece of sheetrock. Here I am telling you how to fix it again, but we said we were going to do that. Can't help myself. But you can just go over it. Mm-hmm. Most of the popcorn we'll be talking about now is not going to have asbestos. If you buy a super old place, it's worth to have that checked out, and you should be in your inspection report. You should be safe in just going over it. And even if it is asbestos, I have heard, and I'm not an expert on this, but I have heard it's better just to go over it than trying to remove it, because when you remove it, the particles are now circulating.
Right.
So you'd want to look into that if you have that. On a similar note to the popcorn, whose brilliant idea was orange peel walls. Now, there are textures that are nice, and there are textures that are coming back into vogue now. I think, Anita, you had some texture in the Heights house, correct?
Most all houses built in Texas that I'm aware of have some texture. We had the lightest that he would use. I said, I really don't want texture. And he just said, so he put an extremely subtle texture. It wasn't that orange peel. It wasn't that.
Yeah. Orange peel is really hard to deal with. And
that's more like industrial looking. That's the worst.
Yeah. So that is something which is confusing to me, because their effort had to go into creating the orange peel. I don't know why they would spend the time and effort to do something like that, which really is not enhancing your look, and in fact, kind of making it look cheaper. So if you have orange peel, whatever paint you're using, you're going to want to use the lowest sheen possible. I don't recommend flat paint in general because it's hard to wipe down. But what you want to do is tone down the peel, if you will. So the higher the sheen, the more the texture is going to be obvious and revealed, particularly when you're putting lights on or natural light is hitting the wall. So that's just a way to sort of do a workaround if you can't cover it up right now. But if that's something you have and you haven't even considered it, do consider it in light of what you're hearing today, that it will cheapen the look.
Yes, very true.
Here's one about not necessarily having something. It's about not having something, not having any antiques in your home at all. Mm-hmm. So kind of flipping this around a bit. An antique, now that doesn't have to be a little old piece of brown furniture. It doesn't have to be something from, the 1800s. It can be a mid-century piece. It could be something from the 60s if that's your vibe. It could be something from the 70s, even the 80s are antiques now, right? But just something that's older, something that's going to ground your space, something that's going to give your look a little gravitas, something that is interesting, that isn't just of this moment, something that's intentionally placed in your home that has some soul, that has some age to it, will do a lot to add to the look rather than cheapening it.
Even if your look tends more toward the modern, something vintage or antique is going to ground the room and I think give it a unique feeling. So if everything looks brand new, it just looks like you pulled the house together yesterday. So I think there's some value in having something older. How about this? And I see this, we see this all the time in our consults, in our design consults, and that is artwork that is too small. And this can really cheapen your room. You would be surprised what a difference it makes. And so I'm talking about, like, if you have an 11 by 14 piece of artwork above your sofa, that's not going to work for your room. I mean, you really need a much wider piece of artwork. So think about if you've got a buffet or a dresser or a sofa or a bed, think about kind of using that space and making it as wide as you can, about the width of whatever you're putting it on top of. So, but these small pieces I see everywhere, 8 by 10s really not a great size if we're talking about a living room. An 8 by 10 is probably something more suited really for a bathroom, a very small space.
Yeah.
8 by 10 in general is too small, even I'm going to say for a bedroom. So you really want to go with bigger artwork.
Along the lines of bigger, you want to go with bigger bedding as well. Nothing cheapens a bedroom where the looks like the comforter, duvet, quilt, what have you. It's barely making it around the edges of the size bed that you have. Or you're seeing exposed legs of a metal frame. I don't have any problem with metal frames, but I would probably suggest that you're putting something on between the mattress and the box spring, if that's the way your bed is set up. So you're having some sort of coverage. Definitely want to up the size. So if you have a queen size bed, get a king size duvet. It will cost you a little bit more, but maybe not even. Shop around, look for sales. Doesn't necessarily mean because it's bigger that it's going to be more than another beautiful piece that you could get. Even if you have a king size bed, you can get extra king size. You can get a California king, which is going to be bigger as well, and let it hang off the sides so it covers the mattress, and if you've got a box spring as well.
While we're talking about the bed, cheap bedding. It's just something that really does change the look of the room. If you've got some really nice bedding, it can really transform your room. But if the bedding looks cheap, it's not going to be helpful for the look of the room. And so what am I talking about? I'm talking about if you bought it someplace that is mass produced, if you bought it, there's going to be some exceptions, but I don't know. Do I name places, Kelly?
Well, just stay away from the bed in the bag and stuff like that. Probably. People know those sets that come in the big zippered up plastic thing, and you're like, oh, I got a kind of a 2 shams and a comforter, and they kind of come all like that. And if it's sort of loud patterns and polyester, is that what you're talking about?
Well, that's what I was going to say. You really want to look for the natural fibers. So anything that's got the synthetic fibers is not the look that you want. If it just looks kind of messy and it looks like it belongs in a dorm room, this is not what we're looking for. It's fine if it's linen and it's got some wrinkles to it, but if it has that, I don't know, just that, you can kind of tell. I think when you look at it, if it looks synthetic, if it looks too thin, if the pattern's too strong. You really want something with a simple pattern, any pattern at all. And again, it's like you said, just a simple single linen sheet thrown over the bed is going to look better than a lot of this stuff that I see that you can buy everywhere. So you really want something with some elegance to it.
Well said. Elegance will also be added to the home, and you'll avoid any sort of inference of a cheapy look if you use a limited color palette, but not too limited. Not the one accent color in the same shade that you see in one room or a series of rooms. Kind of looks more like a bad catalog. You want to add accent colors either in various shades and tones of the same color or a limited color palette of maybe 3 colors. We have talked about this for years on the podcast and what that can do to really create a cohesive look and give you the flow throughout your own home. And it really does take away any sort of cheapy look, because it looks like you worked with intention with this palette and carried it through.
Pillows that have lost their shape due to cheap inserts. Somehow I ended up with some really cheap inserts. I must have found some really beautiful pillows and they already came with the inserts and I just went ahead and bought them. And over time, the inserts just started looking off. They lost their shape. They kind of started falling over. And they just looked terrible. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have to get rid of these pillows. And I just thought, well, I'm going to try replacing these inserts with some high quality inserts. And so I got some beautiful down, or you could even go with the faux down. but I went with some down inserts in those pillows. And, it completely transformed the pillows. It was not my covers that were the problem. It was the insert. And it made a massive difference getting it just fluffy and soft and comfortable to lean against, just having those wonderful inserts. It made a big difference in the way it looked.
And sometimes you just have to break up with a pillow because sometimes they are not removable. Sometimes the covers are not removable. So you can't get to that insert, and it's probably not worth your while to open it up and then put a zipper and all that, because usually the pillows, their covers are not removable or less expensive to start out with. So if you've got some of those laying around, don't kid yourself. They're making your house look cheap and they're bringing your look down. So it's probably time to break up with those. You can drop them off at your local animal shelter or your humane society, because they will use them for the dogs and cats. So that's a good way to feel like they're not just going into a landfill. And then get yourself some nice pillow covers. I linked those great ones in the past episode that we did. And so you might want to check those out and then get some good inserts and you'll be on your way. Okay, another one that people are probably going to get mad at me for because they might have memories attached to them or could be some kid artwork, but magnets on your fridge, cheapo, bad look. I'm sorry. It just is.
This is interesting because I feel the same way, but people just love those.
They love it. Oh, we went to the Grand Canyon. Let's get a magnet and put it on there. Don't do it. It's going to bring your look down. You have your gorgeous kitchen, and then your fridge is just like something where it's just so much going on. And sometimes I've had an experience where they were not my magnets, but my daughters had some little toys that had some magnet stuck on them. And I found the two of them playing with their magnets on the stainless steel refrigerator and moving them, and they scraped. This was many years ago, and I still remember it. I was like,
this was my fear. This is why I didn't even want a magnet in my
step away
kitchen
from the refrigerator.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's
but
awful.
I could see, somebody just comes home from preschool or kindergarten or maybe all the way through elementary school, and they've got a great little art project, and you put it on the fridge for a temporary period of time, and that's charming. But when you're talking about a collection of magnets, that's a bad look, and it's going to instantaneously cheapen your kitchen.
Oh my.
I know. I'm sorry. I had to say it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did.
Sure. I took all the hard ones for the team today.
I don't know. I think I said some things that somebody's not going to like.
Okay, probably. You have another one?
No, I'm ready for DTT Defines. Are you?
On the edge of my seat. What is it?
Okay. It's Anaglypta.
Stop it. Say that again. It sounds like some kind of disease or reptile.
Anaglypta. This is a type of wallpaper with a raised textured design. So it's often referred to as embossed wallpaper.
You stumped me. I never would have known what that was.
Really? Okay, so it was popular in the late 19th century and early 20th century, and the term Anaglypta comes from the Greek anaglyptos, meaning carved or engraved. So they're generally made from sturdy paper stock printed with patterns inspired by classical ornamentation like beading and rope edging. And it can be used to add texture and structure to smooth surfaces like ceilings and walls.
Ooh, cover your orange peel with it.
There you go. And it often can be painted, but just check before you buy it to make sure that you can. Because, you have talked about this textured wallpaper many times, Kelly.
Dude, I have it. I just didn't know this cool word. Say it for me again.
Anaglypta.
Glypta, not glyptic.
Right.
Anaglypta. Okay, yes, I have that. And I love it. I got it from Graham and Brown. And it's beautiful. Mine looks like ceiling tile, but there may be like 4x4. So it looks like Victorian ceiling tile, and it's raised. And I did not paint it. It's in my girl's bathroom. Love it.
Nice. Excellent. So what's your crush?
Oh, my crush is a podcast that I've really been enjoying. A lot of people might know of Sarah Raven. She's a British garden designer and gardener, but I learned about her through her podcast as I was searching for gardening podcasts, and I've really been enjoying it. She does maybe 1 or 2 shows a week. One's longer format, one's shorter. I think you'll all really like it very much, and then you could definitely pop over to sarahraven.com, I think it is, and check out everything that she's got there.
Wow. Okay. I need to check that out. So my crush is a green toaster that I bought that's really pretty, and it goes with a green tea kettle. And it's not an avocado green. I don't know what kind of green I would call this, but it's a very pretty green. So if you're looking for a colored toaster, and you want it in a green, this one's really nice, and it's got the metal piece that goes on top that you can put a pastry on if you want to warm up a pastry, and it won't fit in the toaster. And it is actually Amazon choice, and it does come in black. I'm looking here, black and white. So it comes in a couple different colors, and less than $50. So I'll include the link in the show notes, but it's really cute. And you know how we love the colored toaster. I have a blue one also that's really pretty.
I was going to say, don't you already have a blue toaster?
Okay.
Green is not a color I think of when I think of Anita Joyce.
Okay. Well, remember we have the house in the mountains and it was a rental.
Yeah.
But now we're going up there, so we're not renting it anymore. So we redid the kitchen.
Yes.
And I put in this really charming green lantern in the kitchen from Ballard Designs. And so that's kind of my green, Papa Green. And so to kind of mirror that green, I added a green tea kettle and the green toaster, and I got some green flatware. And so that's my green kitchen there. And so I have a change from my blue kitchen here.
Love it. Good.
So that's that.
Well, I'm glad we all got filled in on that because that was very much a mystery.
Well, I've been working on that house for a while.
Where is she putting that green toaster?
It looks really cute. Well, you got to have something a little different there. And we're redoing that house. It's going to take quite a while because it was a vacation rental for a long time. And and guess what? It's full of mini blinds. And other design crimes, which I was waiting till we would stop renting it before we got rid of a lot of this stuff. So there's a lot of work that we got to do on this house. So, okay, well, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We hope that we didn't say anything too offensive today. If we mentioned something and you love it and you don't want to change it, then you go for it at your house. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Want to talk to us? Well, we really want to talk to you. So let's schedule a design consult. Anita and I are here to give you individualized, actionable advice on how to create the beautiful home you want and deserve. It's so easy to schedule a design consult with us. Simply click the link in the show notes or head to decoratingtipsandtricks.com/consult. When we talk to you on the scheduled time, we will be ready with so many great tips, advice, and yes, tricks. So sign up today for a design consult. We can't wait to talk to you.